think the larger picture, make a successful investment, but you're okay with just a little bit less than extreme successful. But everyone else, the city and your community is happy.
Right.
Yeah? It's kind of the trade-offs, like
Yeah.
Pareto principle. You know, Italian magician and saying, okay, fine, if I pay you for something, I compensate you for something, but you should not less worth after all that. Like I pay you for passing your plans with utilities, so I pay you an easement fee. Yeah? But she should not be damaged by that. But you as a community, I maybe pay both of you, then you're both better off, and I get my will. Yeah? Classic read up Pareto principle or Pareto trade-off.
Right.
Yeah? So just a compensation for something, but you gain from that.
Right.
So you might gain from that because the next project is the same style, and the sum of two projects is more than one big one, and he doesn't get the second one.
Right.
Yeah? So a long-term career in type of a specific niche product,
Right.
energy conserving, lead, etc.
That's
Yeah?
a reputation factor I was talking about.
Something.
Yeah.
All right. Redevelopment should beautify its surroundings and be well designed architecturally and spatially.
10.
6, 7, 6.
At least 7.
Six.
I think beautifying, I mean,
You're gonna be
yeah,
right
it is, but I mean, depending on how much money you want to work with. I mean, beautifying is fine, but
Well, no,
maybe,
obviously, but from what it was to like,
I mean,
the goal is to make it attractive.
well designed, I have no doubt. I mean, you have not a good design.
All right. It's going to be so much fun. Redevelopment should not cause the city government to lose money.
5.
They would never lose money.
5.
They would never lose money.
That's
Seven.
I would
That's
say
gotta be the last
Government
thing
is never
to
gonna
worry
do
about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Getting this project approved, I want to make it seem
No,
like
but
a
you need
deal for them.
affordable housing, so you.
Well, that's your priorities right now.
Right.
This is an exercise to set you up the right way.
How does city government lose money?
They never lose money.
Yeah, no,
They never
it's
lose
increasing the
money.
tax base. Okay.
The question is who's the mayor and commissioner?
All right, okay, let's keep that open and see what you guys rank
If they're
earlier.
But at
in
the
this
same time,
situation,
we're not
there's no
approving
way
The
to
redevelopment, wait, listen up. The redevelopment should respond to the concerns of the neighborhood where it's to be located.
10.
10. 10.
Man,
What,
2 or 3
8?
hours talking about good land use planning and I already turned you to the other side. Alright. Alright, good. Yeah,
What time do you get up? 3:30, right?
345.
3:45. You're going to finish on time today. Hello, are you working on your? Alright, short introduction. So we're doing, I assume right now you just skimmed through the urban plan setup, but you're not completely involved. So urban plan, as I showed on the map, is a redevelopment setup. There's a vacant site, downtown area, neighborhood that it used to be somewhat proud of. You need to explore what's the heritage. Remember, spirit of the site. There's also the component of, you're going to fight about how to redevelop this, because there are certain constraints given for each role. Yeah? So what we're going to do now is a very short video. It's called the Urban Plan video. Which gives you a little bit of rundown how that tool was perceived in its original setup. And it's a game setup developed primarily to inspire high schoolers to think about redevelopment and urban planning. And age is not the limitation. After 5 minutes playing with those Legos, you don't care if this was designed for someone that was maybe 5 or 10, 15 years younger than you. Doesn't matter. It's one of the wonderful training exercises we can choose to practice on. And tell you, playing with those blocks and moving them around and shifting them around is as complicated as you would have to draw that in 3D on sketches or just 2D on a plan. Remember the NEOP challenge? And I came out into your room and just looked at it. Who was in that group where I just was it with you with the L-shaped office building? Just a simple instead of just a
Oh, no, that
box.
wasn't me.
Was a group and sitting in that corner. But just like
Well, that's-
sketching out,
Yeah.
sketching out 2 or 3 different alternatives in
Well, that was the
layout.
living room.
Yeah, that's the living room.
Yeah.
Those are
I don't know
Did
why.
they change the layout?
I don't know
We had just one, we ended with
Those are
one.
the one.
I'm talking about
why.
that.
I know, no, that.
Way in the back. But you had it already,
You were on the
street
living
parking,
room, right?
box, backside parking. Now you moved it all in the back.
All in the back, so we ended with like the front.
Okay.
Because they had a little visual, that's, yeah.
We had a vision. We had a vision.
Vision and a visual. Alright.
We should have this.
So
Yeah, that 1 minute video.
just with that group or any of these groups, one thing I did is pull out a piece of paper and start sketching other alternative ideas of alignment of tools and office and spaces. Yeah? So you will do this here too. So quick video, about 8 minutes I think, gives you kind of the spirit, what to expect, what people reported about it. On that note, we're not going to have officials coming in to judge you during the process. We're doing this internally. But part of the final presentation is I want to have at least one board member and maybe the other class come in. So you get an additional judge. I want to have someone actually who has that board member in mind, has like years of experience as part of his job, running a firm. You know? So it would be really cool to see that. I want to have this as a speaking engagement. Hey, this is what I do for my living. Show me what you guys have after lunch. Something like that. You know? Make it fun. Even some people say, yeah, this is just toys. This is a really important exercise. And we're crunching numbers in Excel after this. Yeah? So you actually put every block here based on a color code and its shape has a cost factor, yeah? Or a revenue factor. Let's see how this works.
ULI has always been about nurturing tomorrow's leaders, the emerging leaders, the future leaders of the industry, the future leaders of our communities. And starting with the high schools with the urban plan curriculum is an amazing foundational component of.
And that's the case that PowerPoint kills video.
ULI has always been about nurturing tomorrow's leaders, the emerging leaders, the future leaders of the industry, the future leaders of our communities. And starting with the high schools with the urban plan curriculum is an amazing foundational component of that.
It teaches and brings to life core fundamental values, things like supply and demand and trade-offs. And so it really becomes a way of bringing to life activities that the students are learning about in the class.
The program really provides students an opportunity to take what's theoretical and often abstract and really make it meaningful and real and tangible, so they can really apply the principles that they've been learning.
I love everything that it does for kids, from actually teaching them core economic concepts that are really important, like opportunity cost, trade-offs, all those kinds of things. It also teaches them how to work in groups. It teaches them, how to deal with personalities that may not be similar to your own. It tells them how to, teaches them how to problem solve, how to be professional, how to present something to a group of people that you may not know or may not be comfortable with. It's the best job interview experience you'll ever have. Before you actually have to go do a job interview, it's a great experience.
The idea of being able to work with high school students who were learning economics struck me as a great opportunity to be able to give back to the community and share the experience that I'd gained with the next generation of leaders.
And to really challenge them as a facilitator to some of the assumptions that they make. Most of them have this kind of an aha experience where they sit there and you ask them questions that they haven't really thought about. And then they start to think about it and they think, wow, I hadn't really thought about that. And so it's given them a perspective on the development process that they've never even really thought about before.
The facilitators were extremely helpful. It was interesting to see the things that they would say because they're all specialized in different aspects. So like, for example, we had one person who was extremely focused on the aspect of what you see when you look out of a business window, as opposed to another person was all about like accessibility.
You start to think outside of the box. You see things where you wouldn't have seen them before. You start to drive down streets, you see urban planning on the streets, you start to think about the new options that are there.
The entire program that these students go through culminates into a presentation that's given to a fictitious city council that's chaired by volunteers of the program. These students get up there and they pitch their redevelopment project.
To work with that sort of a team, create your own dynamic, collaborative spirit amongst you, and have that competitive spirit too, to we're gonna win this project. The city council is gonna vote yes for our project and our proposal for urban plan. So being able to present and public speak in front of the city council and convey and articulate your message and essentially sell your project, that would be an invaluable experience before you go into college and even into your careers.
City Council is my favorite day because that's the day that you get to see the end product for what these kids have been working on. You see the pride behind it. You see the competition and that competitive fire in them that they want to win. You walk into the room and there's a bunch of nervous students. Sometimes they're gathered and they're huddling, and that's very much like the beginning of any city council meeting. Then they do their presentations. They're very, very good at thinking on their feet. We ask them hard questions on the city council, and you can always tell the group that gels well together by how well they team up to answer the questions. And that's why urban plan is so cool, is because it becomes a thing that the students hear about, want to participate in, and it's a real world experience that translates immediately in their experience into their real life.
I thought that most of the plans would look very similar. Every one of them is completely different from the other. And they all are very good, each and of themselves. And so they all just have addressed these different interests in different ways, which has shown me that there's more than one way to be able to do this, and there's no one right answer. And for them to be able to justify why they did what they did is great, and to know that they've thought through this on their own.
ULI Arizona is the only district council in the system that has one interesting piece to the urban plan program that we do, and that is a site tour. The winning teams from urban plan are brought to an actual mixed-use development downtown Phoenix. It's an on-the-ground, boots on the ground, moment for these kids after they've gone through the whole urban plan curriculum in their schools to actually stand in the middle of a mixed-use project.
We started our day at RED Development, and they got to go up and sit in the conference rooms, and RED Development walked them through kind of how they developed this whole plan and sort of walked through the different roles that the kids actually take on too, and what this looked like and the different phases of planning that they had to go through, just very similar to what the kids have to do. And after that, it's really cool because we get to go on a walking tour and we get to go see some of the very same types of buildings that the kids had to think about building in their plans. So one of those was 44th and Monroe, which is really cool, and the kids love this because they get to go all the way up to the penthouse. And for most of them who are suburban, suburbanites, they don't ever really get to see high-rise buildings. So going up to the penthouse was awesome. They get to see what that looks like. It's also pretty cool because at that particular location, you can see a YMCA from the building, and that's one of the things they have to think about in their plan. You can also see the remains of what used to be a homeless shelter in that area, and so that again ties back into their own plans. Just all around a super cool experience for them to connect back to, this is real life, it's very similar to what you just did in your project. And I think any of the kids that went on that, it really brought it around and connected all those dots for them to be like, okay, I get it.
I think urban plan is loved by the students because it is so different, because it is so in-depth. It is real-world practice that these students are getting. It's diverse, it's hands-on, it's interactive. It's interaction with professionals in an industry, and it's real. It's so much like reality. It is reality. We're going through a real life process. And students are working in that process from beginning to end. It requires a lot of thought and creativeness. It requires diversity, and I think their expectations at the beginning are changed by the end, and to a large degree, they're changed people.
When I was in high school, most of the learning was fairly traditional classroom work. We didn't do any project-based learning where you had to work in a team and really learn the dynamics of working in a team environment. You quickly learn in college, and then when you get into your career, that so much of what you do is project-based. And I think the ability for students to be exposed to project-based learning in high school will give them a real advantage as they move on to the college level and ultimately into their career.
You know, in my high school, vocational training was shop, right? You went and you worked on cars, or you did wood shop or whatever. This is vocational training, or at least enough of it to be meaningful that's at a whole different level. And I think it satisfies the intellect of very smart and curious young people.
I bet that they all leave school and they look around and they look at the communities that they live in, and they have a better understanding of the dynamics of the interplay of all the uses. They look at the shopping centers differently and how those contribute to the cities. They probably view all their municipal governments differently and how they provide amenities and services and planning in general.
I feel like I would be more involved with my community now. I understand how important it is to state my opinions, especially to, say, a city council or somebody who has more power within to do something that I want to be seen, that I want to see done. And I feel like I understand the importance of speaking up for what I feel would be best for my city as well.
I would definitely recommend this class to another student because it really does teach you how to take what you learn and put it into practice instead of just taking a test here. You have to give a presentation to a city council and prove that not only do you know your stuff, but the stuff that you have is better than anybody else's. So if you're into competitions and if you're really into applying what you learn, this is a great class for you.
It opens kids' eyes to see that there's all of these careers that they may not even be aware exist. And if I would have had it in high school, I think it just opens doors. It opens doors to marketing, architecture, finance. It opens so many doors. I wish I would have had an experience like this.
Whether or not their career happens to be in real estate or development or land use, maybe it's in finance, maybe it's in medical, it won't even matter, but they'll have a better understanding about how the community and the world around them is created and developed.
Well, that's a channel setup. That's kind of a marketing video of dealing with this kind of site. What we're going to do now, we have 3 more items. We should change this a little bit today. Can't get the third part. 3 more items. We're going to assign teams, get the Legos, start playing with them. Everyone needs to touch them, needs to explore them. If you have had a chance to print out the handbook, really do it, because the student's handbook, the PDF I sent you guys, actually has for every building type, the coloring code and the block building code, how they align. Yeah? That's part of the readings we need to go through. We need to understand that one building is based on its shape and the color coding different from that really tall yellow tower, which is apparently residential. Yeah? So there's a color schematics with this. I gave you a printout in color for all the class sessions. So print out, put everything in the binder, bring it to the class. That helps a little bit. Now, the humorous fun part is that there's part of the exercises means actually in existing building types that you go through and color those. At least write the color of the code here next to the building. You don't have to sit down and color the blocks in the catalog. But write down if this is a 3-block building and it's blue, yellow, yellow from the bottom, that maybe is office or like office and residential mixed use. Yeah? So page numbers are on the syllabus, basically like 27 till 40, those are the building types. Any ideas yet about teams? Not about everyone's personal position in the team. I don't care if you're the marketing director right now, or the site planner, the city liaison, or the financial analyst, or a neighborhood guy. Yeah?
Team members again? You want to speak team members again? Let's ask the question.
How many people are in a team?
Let's ask us if we-
I have 13 students in this class. 6 and 7. So I have 1 student missing today because he's out of state. So you can choose which one. You can break into 6 and 6 right now and have Jason choose which group. Or some of the folks, you know him better than I do. I don't want to make a judgment call. Or I have, you guys can make a judgment call who wants to have Jason.
He's in the night class.
We're fine, us.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
And Jason's
Sure,
in the night class.
you get time. You can swap, change teams. You want to do this side versus this side?
Well, wait, 1, 2, 3.
What do you guys think? It's your decision.
I don't want to because they've just talked a lot through lecture. I like kind of missed part of it, and I'm here to like learn from you. And I don't really want to deal with either of them in a group. To be totally honest.
What? I gotta respect her opinion about this. So
She's gonna switch with her.
Hey, keep the language, please.
Thank you.
Hey guys. Respectful, professional.
You know what? I would really prefer if they were respectful and professional for the rest of the class.
All right.
At this point, I'm like, I want a gas station, and I don't think I want to deal like
All right.
at all.
All right.
So she's gonna switch out with you if you wanna come join us.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
The alternative.
People are being respectful.
The alternative to this voluntarily assigning to a group, and you guys need to discuss this I can leave the room for a moment. You guys, we can switch off the video. You guys need to discuss this. You're working together for a period of time. You work in a team, you work as a group, and you get grades as a group, and you grade each other individually with the peer assessment. I'll actually talk about this after class. Yeah, but we still need to talk about this.
Sure.
Gotta make sure that this is okay, guys.
So, for handicapped, there's only 5 of us here?
Yeah?
No, that's still 5.
Jason Krause is going to be here. He's a good team.
All right.